All right, guys, today we're mounting on this Gearhead front mount intercooler. This is a dual core, high capacity. Very impressed with the build quality. I will say though, the only downfall, this thing is heavy. I mean, really heavy, but that's a good thing because it's not going to crack, it's not going to leak. I don't think there's any possible chance you could blow a seam on this intercooler. I really don't. It is built tough. Now, this is from Gearhead. I believe they are off back order now as of me making this video here. Now, I got into this and then I realized, crap, I should probably film it for you guys. So, I'm just going to cover the basics here, okay? You have a ton of fasteners over the core support, okay? Now, once you remove all those fasteners, you're not going to have this piece loose because there's fasteners all the way down the front side. If you can see behind here, so there's one there, one there. There's a couple more on the other side, if you guys can see that. Now, here's the other thing, okay? This is a controversial topic, okay? Removing the crossbar is something I like to do because you have more access, you can move around easier, a lot more user-friendly to get in here behind the condenser and pull the intercooler out. However, you do have to either grind out all the welds or cut the bracketed sections that are welded. Now, I hit it with the grinder for a little bit, and then I realized that there is a lot of welded surface area, so I ended up cutting the brackets off. Now, what I'm eventually going to do, bend this all back nice and flush. I'm going to put the core support back on. I'm going to paint it and seal it so it doesn't rust. But you guys keep in mind, there's 4 bolts per frame member that this core support mounts to. The bolts are really the rigidity of it, not necessarily the tack welds that are on the sides of it. So those of you that are going to get all worked up because we cut some metal, relax. Now, if you want to do this with the core support on, be my guest. I don't think it'll be very fun. But essentially, you're going to need to remove the headlights because the headlights have a bracket that wrap around the front of the core support. So you got a little push clip, you got a bolt over here on the side that holds the headlight in, and then you have a bolt on the front side that holds the headlight in. So as you can see, you got a headlight over there, headlight over here. So now what we're gonna do, and you'll also see too here, I got a piece of wood with a jack under the whole core support. Now that the condenser is loose, what we can do is and I'm going to try to do this one-handed while we're on the video, but I don't know if it's going to work very well. Okay, so I got the condenser loose. Okay, as you can see, it's loose. Okay, but essentially you're going to have to remove the condenser out of the way. Now, luckily for me, this is part of our big show build, okay? I have not filled the refrigerant system yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the condenser, and then I'm going to remove the condenser out of the way entirely, if that makes sense to you guys. So this isn't exactly a small job installing this intercooler. It's not impossible either. Okay, if you got a little cutoff wheel and you got some basic hand tools, you can definitely get it done. Now, I might be doing this a different way, but here's the thing. I don't like messing around with pulling cooling fans and the radiator and all the other BS, so I'm doing this from the front. Maybe some of you guys got some different ways of doing this. But essentially, I'm going to remove the factory intercooler, and then what I'm going to do is obviously install our Gearhead intercooler. So I will have updated clips throughout the process. Unfortunately, I don't have the time just to knock this all out right this second, so I can't just hang the camera on a stand and do it right in front of you. But this video is going to kind of walk you through the installation of the intercooler. It is essential if you are trying to run some massive power out of these cars. Now, there's other videos on this particular car, and this is kind of the last thing aside from the low pressure fuel pump. I'm going to cover that video as well. And then once those are all in, we're going to get our little adapter piece for our XDI high pressure fuel pump that goes into the factory line here. And after that, guys, time to go to the dyno. So, all right, so a little update here. Got the core support completely loose and pulled it out from in front of the radiator. And then basically, since you have the latch cable, no sense taking that all apart. Flip it around the side. No, it's not touching any paint. There's a fender cover on it, just hanging on the fender. Now you have a couple securement bolts. The intercooler will lift out, pull out, and then we'll be able to mount this bad boy right here. All right, you guys, intercooler is out. Now, the way you have to do this, disconnect your outlet, your dual outlet, off the original, or I should say off the factory intercooler. And then basically the factory intercooler has tabs where it slides down in here, and then those securement bolts that I was showing you. So just to kind of zoom out. So find a way to support the radiator, and then basically you can lift the intercooler out, walk this side off so the intercooler's like this, and then either drop it below or walk it up off the top, because this piece starts to catch, so you got to scoot the intercooler over to get some clearance around that. So this one has the same style outlet. So what we're gonna have to do is, well, I'm gonna try actually syncing it with this on. I don't think it'll work, it may. Worst case, take these two bolts off, separate that piece, install it the same way that it came out. Then we're gonna take the core support and we're gonna lift up, pull back, slide it up under everything, get it tucked up, get it back bolted up to the car. So there is kind of your walkthrough. Now this also too, this does not appear to be seepage debris, but this is a prime opportunity to clean the radiator. Because you guys, I don't know if you know this on your shows, but you have a condenser, intercooler, and then the radiator. So your radiator gets blasted with debris. So absolutely clean that up before it goes back on. I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done cleaning it. All right, you guys, I'm actually going to show you how much how much dust is in here. This is an 80K Taurus SHO that's been very well taken care of, and check this out. Can already hear the comments. Oh, you're doing that with open turbos. No, there's rags shoved in there. But anyways, yeah, this is messy, man. Look at all this. So I'm gonna blow the rest of the dust out, and then I'm gonna take brake clean and just go over the whole thing. Try to get her nice and clean, blow her out one more time, and then we'll put it back together. But yeah, as far as coolant temp goes, it might be worth doing the intercooler. One, because you're going to have more density. Two, because you're probably going to be more efficiently cooling the block because your radiator will be clean. So, something to think about. You guys, apologize about the noise. had to kind of air the shop out. Got the fan going, but the Gearhead intercooler is installed. Not all the way, obviously, but it's bracketed. It's, you know, in for the most part. Now the condenser obviously goes right in front of this. Then everything goes back together. I'm gonna say this right now for you guys. I do not think you're gonna have any success getting this on with the crash bar installed. I really don't think that's gonna happen. That's just from my take so far doing this. You know, obviously I could be wrong. There could be ways to do it, but right now, got it in. It's gonna go all back together in the same order. The condenser has tabs that clip on to even the CHF design intercooler, the Gearhead intercooler. And then hook our connections up, hook all your connectors back up, and then you're done. One more update, guys. You're gonna have to trim this foam down because it is too thick against the new intercooler, and it won't sit in that bracket unless you know, squeeze the living crap out of it. So my advice, trim it down so that it fits. Did that on this side too. Psych. You guys, my last comment, I guarantee you if the guys at Gearhead were watching this, they were probably laughing their ass off. It is not easy to get this back on by yourself. And I'll tell you why. The stock intercooler is plastic and, hold on a second. Okay, maybe weighs 5 pounds, okay? This Gearhead intercooler is way heavier. I want to almost say like over 30 pounds. Maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe it's closer to 25, but you add that with the radiator while trying to hold the bracket with one hand and lift the whole assembly up with one hand. It's not super easy, so I am here, though, to give you guys a little helpful tips. So one thing, get the bracket pushed in towards the intercooler, okay? And then lift, you know, send your hand behind the core support and lift up and try to tuck that flap in underneath the radiator and the intercooler. Once you do that, you can push this forward quite a bit, and then I would strongly recommend anchoring both sides. Don't run them all the way down, but just enough where it'll hold this assembly from coming back on you. This, and I might clip this in the beginning of the video. This is a two-person job. Right now, the hardest part is gonna be trying to lift this whole radiator support up and get it into the mounting holes. You can see one there. I can't really see that one, but so basically I'm trying to lift by the cooling fans the whole module up and then tuck the bottom in so that it drops into those rubber bushings, the radiator, excuse me, not the intercooler. I will admit the thing looks badass. The only issue is that the condenser covers that. I guess what would be kind of cool is deleting your AC. Well, deleting your AC wouldn't be cool. It would be very, very hot. But you guys get my point. If you were willing to sacrifice your AC, you could have that bad boy sticking right out the front end. But in this situation, we are going to have fully functional AC. So, right, well, you can't, unfortunately, see that nice big Gearhead logo anymore. You can kind of see it if I peek down in there, but core support's back together. Got to secure the install the headlights, excuse me, and then as well as the front bumper. But that's probably the worst of what that side looks like. That side turned out pretty good. You can tell which side my first cut was on. That one. So, not too shabby. She'll be fine.